All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorn, this is All in Sports presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. Welcome to the wrap-up of the AFC South season. We will evaluate the final divisional matchups and make way too early calls about next year. So, let's go. All in Colts.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son, Liam. We are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All in Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yup. Colts Corner Bulletin. As expected, Gus Bradley has become the scapegoat for this season. Now the search will be on for the next defensive coordinator to turn around what DeForest Buckner called the worst defensive team he has been a part of.
Yeah, in addition, the Chris Ballard end of the year press conference scheduled for 9 a.m. Wednesday was indefinitely postponed due to Ballard being sick. I am sure he's not the only one feeling sick about this whole thing.
Yes, it's true.
I also want to add, it seems as if we may have discovered where this whole tap out kind of issue came from.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does he consistently show up late to these press conferences, now he's just not even showing up at all.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the guy.
The current standings of the AFC South and the final standings.
Yep.
Houston 10-7, the Colts 8-9, Jags 4-13, and the Titans with the number one pick of the draft 3-14.
Yep. But before we get there, let's start not quite at the bottom. The Colts' last competition, the 95 Kitties update. They played the Colts. You can go back and listen to our recap of that game from 2 days ago. 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
On Monday.
Mm-hmm. Doug Peterson was fired, but GM Trent Balk was kept on.
Yep. Although there was an awkward Zoom meeting or something like that the owner had where he said that if the new coach came up with good reason, he might change GMs. On the same call with Trent Balke right there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to go about things. Normally it's the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, and as we discussed the other day, NFL owners are pretty much like a aristocracy dictatorship. So why are they being told anything that they don't want to do? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars will draft 5th and have many of their pieces returning, with their top free agents being Mac Jones and safety Andre Sisco.
Yes. The displaced Oilers update. Last week, who did they play?
Houston.
They
played Houston at home.
Right. The Titans. Sorry. Yeah. They played Houston with the loss to Houston. They secured the number one overall pick in the draft. So here's a question. So do they trade out to gain pieces to build around Will Levis? Do you trust Will Levis? Or do they draft a third quarterback in the past 4 years?
Yes, this question becomes more complicated because the Titans also fired their GM, Ran Carthen, after only 2 seasons, but they're retaining Brian Callahan. So they gave their GM 1 year and then fired their longstanding coach in Mike Vrabel. And then they give him 1 more season. And now that they land in the number 1 pick, they're not going to let him do that. That's on to somebody else.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do they stick with Will Levis?
I
Do
think
they control it in a different way?
Since a new GM is coming in, I'd assume he'd want to draft a quarterback. draft his guy that he wants. And a lot of people saying it's going to be Cam Ward, and I would agree that he is the best quarterback in this draft. So I would say Cam Ward would be a smart decision if I were them. But if you get, like, for example, someone like who's like 2 or 3 wanting to jump up to 1 just to try to secure something, then look for those trade options and stuff like that.
You could still believe that Will Levis is your man.
Mm-hmm.
And just maybe he hasn't had the pieces around him. And there you can get a lot. Like you can get a good player that you know is a good player, like a good receiver or a good, offensive lineman, tackle that they need.
Yep.
And still get pieces, a good amount of pieces in this draft and a good first rounder next draft and potentially the draft after. They could get set up for a good little bit instead of drafting a quarterback, because drafting a quarterback, even if it's first overall, can be risky and
it really
still
can
take some time. Just ask the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just ask the Panthers. I mean, there's no guarantees. So,
Precisely.
But somebody gets to interview to control this draft as their GM. That leaves us with the team from Houston update.
Yes.
Ready? Congratulations, Houston. You made the playoffs, but you are an underdog at home to Jim Harbaugh's rookie campaign with the LA Chargers.
Yes. Also, quick thing. Congratulations to all the teams who went 10 wins or more. 15 teams this season went 10 wins or more.
Yeah.
First time in NFL history that has been done. And it means, so 10 teams have gone 10 wins or more, or 15 teams, sorry, which means there's at least one 10-win team that did not make the playoffs.
Yep. Who was it?
I don't know that. I'm trying to think like division wise. Not AFC East.
Not AFC North.
Not AFC South.
Typically, the NFC North people made it.
Not AFC North. AFC not the West.
Nope.
NFC West. NFC West, maybe.
NFC
Seahawks?
West kind of beat up on each other, didn't they? Seahawks? Cardinals? No, because the Rams, they made it at 9. They made it at 10. Oh, it may have been AFC West.
Hold on, I gotta check now.
We gotta look at
Seahawks. Seahawks were 10-7. They were the team that didn't make it. Yep.
There you go. Yep. All right. There you go. Well, there's my team from Houston update. As mentioned, they played at the Tennessee Titans. There's mixed feelings about those uniforms and them using them against Houston every year. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I like it.
Having lived in Houston, some people are calling it amateur bush league. I like it. Rub their faces in it as much as you want. It was their mistake for not making sure that they retained the uniforms and let the team go at the same time before they realized, oh, wait, we're Texas. We do like football.
Yeah.
Their mistake, their loss, rub it in their face as much as possible.
Yeah, I like it. The Houston made the playoffs, but faltered toward the end after the mess with Aziz Al-Shair. Sorry, I have trouble saying his name. Right. It remains to see how they will fare in the playoffs as they host the Chargers in the wild card round. Come back for our unstable pick 6 playoff predictions tomorrow. Houston has some very big decisions to make with Stephon Diggs, Jeff Okudah, Dare Ogunbowale, Robert Woods, and Jerry Hughes, all set to hit free agency.
Yep. I believe it's Dare Ogunbowale.
Yeah.
Ogunbowale.
It's something.
It's their third string running back, I believe. Their third down back. He's good. So it's but with so many guys, something's got to give there.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to keep everybody.
All right, so that leaves us with these 3 questions about the division to close out. Who was the biggest winner in the division this year? Is it
Colts missed the playoffs?
Yep.
Houston's an underdog at home. Jaguars failed to get the 1 seed or the 1 pick. I think it's the Titans. Because they got the 1 pick. They're building off because everyone's like Houston does not have a chance to get to the Super Bowl. So if you're in the playoffs and people are saying you don't have a chance to get to the Super Bowl, then yes, you're in the playoffs. Anything can happen. But yeah.
I tend to agree with you. Obviously, supporting the Oilers. I will say, just simply because they won the division, I'll give it to Houston, but ever so slightly over the Titans.
Yeah.
So then that leaves us with who was the biggest loser?
I don't want to say it, but I think it was the Colts. They won the game against Jacksonville, which made them have a worse draft pick. It was only 2 spots worse, but 2 spots could mean a lot.
Yeah.
The Colts were so close to making the playoffs, lost by 1 game. If you think about it, if the Colts had won that game against Denver, they would be in the playoffs right now. Because Cincy also were 9-8. So it would have been a 3-way tie, or not, it didn't even have to be a 3-way tie, because both Colts and Broncos would be 9-8. Colts would be in.
No, it had to be a 3-way tie.
It didn't, because they would have had the head-to-head.
Yeah.
So you're that close. You're 1 game away.
Yep.
That's all it was.
One
drop away. Colts are the biggest loser.
I would tend to agree with you. The Jaguars are pretty close.
I was thinking that.
But I think my defense again to injury over the season, not just Trevor Lawrence. It was also like receivers that they had hit the deck with Gabe Davis and not using, and then coaching, not using ETN to his fullest potential because Doug Peterson loves to throw the ball. It was lots of reasons you could give to why the Jaguars record was what it was. There's no real reason you can give for the Colts being as close but not close as they were, other than to say, they just yucked it up. All right, and then the last question, who wins the division next year?
I think it's going to be the same this year I don't know if both the Jags and Titans are going to be as bad, but I believe the Colts and Houston will be fighting for it. I don't know exactly, because at the beginning of the year, it looked to be close because, Colts only lost to Houston by 2. Looked to be close, dealt with, and I feel like we got better over the season. Like, everyone kind of got better. We had no idea what our secondary was going to be like at the beginning of the season, and it wasn't great. We'll have different defense next year, hopefully a lot better of one. So just considering all the stuff that's happened and how Houston, I don't know if they're actually going to fire anyone because of the success, I guess you could call it.
Yep.
So I think we are actually going to get better in the offseason. I think the Colts are going to get better in the offseason. So I think the Colts are going to win the division next year. And that's my unbiased opinion. I mean,
We
obviously,
said-
biased 'cause I'm a Colts fan, but
We said
unbiased in that facts.
from last year, we said 2025 is Colts year.
Yep, you did.
To me, that changed when Chris Ballard was retained. And so I'm going to go with the roster that stays, that has the least amount of turnover on paper, and the infusion of a new coach in the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, I like that pick.
And I will say that the Colts and Houston will be fighting for second place, that Tennessee won't have it figured out yet. I don't think that there's a way that they figured it out just yet.
Okay.
So that's where I go with it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I like it.
Well, that is it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with a special wildcard weekend unstable pick 6 prediction show. Then we will wrap up the week with a very special game preview episode that we will announce during that unstable pick 6 tomorrow.
This is Liam.
And this is Kevin,
reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.